All right, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the garage build now. So when I bought the property, we had planned on building up on top of this hill. There's about 5 acres, like I mentioned, that a good bit of it's fairly flat, that would be fairly easy to build on, but ended up running into a bunch of problems right off the bat with that place. Probably one of the biggest ones is that the road that accesses it up there is a private road that is questionable in terms of who has control of it and who has access to use it. And there's also a slip on the side of the hill up there that it was repaired about 30 years ago that it was questionable whether I started bringing concrete trucks and rock in and everything else that I could damage it, and if it would slide in, I was going to prevent access to like 3 homes in there that can't even get to their house, and it'd be very expensive to fix. Not to mention I wouldn't be able to access my property and my garage building up there. So very concerned about all that situation with that road. And then I worked with the power company to see how we're going to get power to it. That was going to be a challenge because there's no access to a power line from my property. I was going to have to get like permission from 3 or 4 different landowners up there to cut trees out of their front yard and run a power pole through there. Some of them, I think one guy's in jail. Some people are just missing in action. The houses are abandoned. One person looks like they probably wouldn't want their trees taken out. And even if that did work, it was gonna be very expensive to run that power line that far just to get it to my property. Then I was gonna have to run like another 500 feet this direction to where the building was gonna be. You know, I was looking at, I don't even know, $10,000 to $20,000 just for the power line if I could get people to sign for it. So that was another thing. There was a ton of trees up there. Maybe I'll do a video sometime, walk around, look up there, but lots of big trees. And be a very significant amount of grade work and all that, and I got a quote for that. So just to get the trees pushed onto the ground and get a road into there was going to be $25,000. That included grade work to get a flat spot for the garage. So I was going to get 25 grand just to get the site ready, basically. Plus all this issues with the road, the power line being possibly another 20,000. It was just adding up before I even got to even starting looking at the garage. So, and then another issue with is my garage is up there, my house is down here. I had to drive around through the neighborhood to get up there. I was looking at making like some sort of path up the side of this hill, which is obviously no fun, but it would have got the job done, you know. It's kind of one of those things like use this garage for day-to-day stuff, and then working on a big project on a Saturday, you just drive up to the garage for the day and maybe take a lunch with you. You know, it wasn't going to be end of the world, but it wasn't going to be super convenient either. So anyway, with all those issues starting stacking up, probably a couple other ones I'm forgetting, I started looking at some other options. And back in here, I hadn't really considered this area when I bought the house, but it's actually more room back here than what it looks like. When I was going to build up there, I was looking at roughly 30 by 60, maybe 30 by 70. And down here, I'm able to fit a garage in this area, not quite that big. But what it's going to look like is one corner will come real close to the house here, about 4 or 5 feet away where this bottle is representing it. And of course, the footer will be way below here. And then it'll be about 30 feet that way, 44 feet that way, roughly to one of those stumps, gets you in the ballpark. And then it'll be 46 feet that way, back into this area over here. It'll be like a little 16 by 16 room on the back left of the garage. And another wall come back down through here, meet up with that corner with the driveway coming in here. There'll be a big garage door right here on this side with a man door, kind of where that chair is. So you can walk in the man door, open the big door. I think it'll be like 9 feet tall, 12 feet wide. And of course the back of the garage will be back in here. Where these, again, kind of where these stumps are. So this will be, have a footer with a couple rows of block, filled with concrete, and then we're gonna bring in like some good fill gravel basically. This back corner in here will be elevated a couple feet because it is sloped down a little bit. Haven't put a transit on it yet, probably 3 to 5 feet, maybe 5 feet at the worst case. That this back corner will have some fill. Again, we'll put that in layers and compact it and all that. The rest of it's pretty decently flat considering I'm on the side of a hill. But anyway, the one back side of the garage will go this way, where this brush is will be that 16 by 16 room. Kind of thinking it's going to be like a little motorcycle area, put my motorcycle lift in there, maybe the workbench in there. And that way it'll leave a good spot for 4 vehicles on this side. So I have like the Falcon in one corner, maybe another project at some point in one corner, open area for the work on your daily driver, and another area just to put stuff, whatever, who knows over the years. And so ultimately I'm able to fit, you know, it's equivalent to roughly a 30 by 50 garage. It's actually a little bigger than 30 by 50. And if you'd see it in person, it's actually surprising when you look at it that you can fit something like that on this spot on the side of this hill. It just doesn't look like it at first, but you start measuring it, it's actually more here than it looks like. And so with all the factors that I talked about earlier, plus the convenience of being down here, how much savings it was going to be to build down here, that's what I ended up doing, deciding to build down here. So back in October, this is March now, had to make the decision to start on it, which part of that was there was a big hot tub hut right here. This is what's left of it, and very nice. Whoever built it back in the 90s, I think is when it was built, put a lot of work into it. Had a lot of quality elements to it, I guess, you know, real nicely and done inside. Now it was showing some age at this point, but very nice, and the kids loved it. It's kind of a shame to lose it, but it was like a hot tub with 8 windows, I think, in it, and a door, and, you know, roof. You go in there when it's raining and just hang out in the hot tub, and we just turned the heat down in the summer and let them play like a pool in there. So it was nice, but hated to lose that. But it obviously had to go. So I spent probably 2 months tearing that thing down by hand, piece by piece, with hammers and crowbars, and drug it all down in the woods there and burned it in one spot. And of course, by doing that, I have a pit full of nails from everything, but I'm going to bury that with a tractor once I get it over here and just bury all those nails. But so I got that out, and then the next phase was to start cutting trees. So didn't have any major trees like actually in the footprint of the garage. They're all on the outside of it, which is good. That means I don't have to deal with any stumps. But there were still need to be dealt with. So like these stumps here, you can see there's a lot you can't even see down in there. Basically, I was going for trees that could be a possible issue in the future. Like, you know, they could fall on it potentially. Is the main thing. Of course, leaves on it. Just you don't want trees hanging over the building if you can avoid it. So anything that was going to be easier to get down now than later, we went ahead and got down. There was 2 trees that had to get a friend of mine to come and climb and piece down. What you can see left of that stump over there is one of them. Because I didn't want it falling down over the hill and making a heck of a mess. So they climbed it, roped it down, more or less just dropped it down. That one, and there was another one over here that I didn't want it to fall in the house, so they climbed it too and brought it down. The rest of them I did myself. Again, it's kind of hard to tell now where they were, but it looks way different now than what it did a couple months ago. When I bought the place, there was trees hanging over top of this grass. Like, you know, you couldn't even see the hillside really. It was like junk in there, and I did some work back in the summer just to clear some of that out, but it's looking way different than it did before. And regardless of the garage build, it probably just needed done. Push some of these trees back. I've got some more up in there I want to deal with one day, but not at the moment. I'm pretty much wrapping up the tree clearing piece. It's been a couple months of, I won't say every weekend, but pretty regularly out here cutting and hauling the wood. You can see my truck's full of wood right now. Been hauling off to my dad's house, and yeah, he's gonna be burning for firewood over the next year or two. And then dealing with all the limbs takes time because you gotta get a fire going. It's not a good time of year to be burning because everything's so wet, and we're cutting down live trees and trying to burn them immediately, and it just doesn't. It takes like 2 hours to get the fire hot enough just to burn them. So anyway, been doing a lot of that. I got about one more round of brush burning here over the next week or two. Haul a few more pieces of wood here to my dad's and basically be done with this phase of the project, which I've actually kind of enjoyed. It's been fun getting out and cutting a little bit, and had some decent weather for it this winter relatively. So anyway, the next step will be get my dad's tractor over here because we got a little bit of earthwork to do. Nothing major, but this area in here I want to shave it down basically. So I'm not sure how much we'll be able to with his tractor. You know, it's really not the best machine for the job, but he's got it. It's free, essentially. Let me borrow it, and we'll give it a try. I mean, worst case, I might have to get rid of Bobcat or something. But wanting to shave that down to, not say level with that retaining wall, but pretty close so that it's kind of flat in there. And of course we'll be putting geotextile down and gravel. And you know, again, driveway will come down into here. We'll be ripping this deck out. I'm going to use the tractor to do that and rip that wood out of there. And just all this will be much lower in this area. Push some of this gravel over and again, rip the deck out basically to about in here so that we can get in here and get the footer in this area. Drag all that back in the woods, burn it too. And what's going to happen here is it'll be the front of the garage here, and then they're going to put like a 10-foot pad out front to kind of help keep gravel and stuff from going out of the garage. So this will all be concreted in here and here. Right now when it rains, all the water comes down through here and into this, behind this basket is just a makeshift filter. Is a drain. So all the water right now goes under a drain, under the deck, and then down into the woods. And I'm going to redo all that. I'm going to have it all drain into a common drain. And so in the future, all this will be shielded from water, you know, by the basement wall, which will help matters with that whole issue. But I'm also going to be putting in a French drain all the way around the road here and get it just going to wrap around the base of this hill and try to get water away from this road. And there's a wet spot back in here, kind of where the 16 by 16 is going to go, that I want to keep water off of. You can see it's wet in here right now, and I think it's just water coming off the hill. I don't want to say there's a spring in there, but it just stays wet. It can't drain. Right now there's a current French drain that runs right about through here, and one side's dry, one side's wet. And yeah, I mean, we could probably get under now and see, but a lot of times there's water running out of it, that it just seems to really do its job. It's just kind of not in the right spot. Yeah, it's running right now. It hadn't rained in 2 days. So I just need to do the same thing, except run it that way and get it further away, maybe closer down by that stump, and get this area dried out a little better. So anyway, that's next on the agenda. And then I'm on the list for the builder that's gonna be doing the foundation, the floor, the framework, and the roof. They're supposed to be coming in August, September, which will yet to be seen on that. I don't know this company real well, other than reviews and, you know, what people were saying about them, but I'm just assuming they're going to come when they say they are. But I'm trying to get it ready for them, you know, sooner than later. That way, if they get here, I'm not behind schedule. But anyway, once they get here, they'll do that, and then I'll take it over from there. Basically, at that point, I'll be working on getting the siding on it, and the garage doors put in, the wiring. We got to run natural gas to it, and of course the wiring, which is yet to figure out. I think I'm going to try to run it around the front yard here somehow and get it over to my power on the other side of the house. Again, the same thing with the natural gas, kind of come in this side of the garage with it. The water line's actually fairly convenient because there's a line that comes out of the side of the house right there for a garden hose. We're just going to tap into it, run it in here. All it's going to have is just like a garden hose, maybe a sink or something in it. Not going to be real complicated, I don't think. But anyway, still got way more to do after they get the framework up. But that's my current situation. So just working it one step at a time, kind of trying to stay on a schedule. And so far on schedule. My goal was to have the trees done by beginning of spring, and that's right where we're at. So now I'll be waiting for some decent weather to get the tractor over here and get working on all that stuff I mentioned, and go from there. So I'm sure I'll do some more updates and some more videos on each of those processes. Maybe that French drain might do one, just the grade work in general, but wanted to do an overall view of what we're doing here and what it looks like at the moment.